Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna quote the Joker right now. It's all part of the plan. I'm calling bullshit on my man Zack Snyder right here today. Call him BS. Okay, let me get the disclaimers all out of the way. I'm a very big champion of the Snyder Cut. I'm very excited for it. Remember when everyone was like, oh, that Snyder Cut's never gonna come out. Oh, no. A lot of us had faith that one day it would happen. Even Zack Snyder doubted it for a while, a good amount of time, and now look where he is today. I like the BVS Ultimate Edition, and if you saw our rank of the DCEU films, Man of Steel's in our top 3. This is by no means a jab at Zack Snyder. I actually think what he's doing is really smart. Let's break it down, people. So recently, Snyder himself said he has no plans to continue his DCEU after the Snyder Cut comes out on HBO Max. Here's the full quote. He was on Comic Book Debate. He said, look, I never thought I'd be here doing this. I didn't think I'd be finishing Justice League. The truth is, and it's been widely reported, and I have no issue, this is an old movie. This is a years old movie I'm working on. The DC universe has gone and branched off and done its own thing, and that's fine. Is it? Is it, Zachary? As far as what I did and as far as what my vision for what I wanted to do with these characters and the journey I wanted them to go on, it's well known that I planned on more movies, 5 movies or something. It's kind of like an ambiguous plan, but I'm busy. I've got a lot going on. I mean, yeah, in the middle of assembling the Snyder Cut, he's also been doing his Netflix zombie movie as well. Is it cool that the fans have so much faith in the trajectory? Yes, it's amazing, and I couldn't be happier, and I'm excited for them to see Justice League so they can really drink the entire elixir of Justice League. What a good word, elixir. But would I continue? I have no plan to, but like I said, I didn't think I'd be here, so who knows?
There it is.
Who knows?
Everything you need to know.
You clever dog. I'm so proud of the way you're doing this. This is just reminding me of the Spider-Man situation all over again. What we call public negotiations. I think Zack Snyder is in the ultimate position. Ever since this pandemic, with the movie industry, we've all been twiddling our thumbs going, which streaming thing is really gonna be the ultimate game changer? And it looks like the answer is gonna be in HBO Max, right? When Wonder Woman 1984 dropped there, people were like, game changer. And then they announced all the movies, game changer. I really think for DC moving forward, it's gonna be the Snyder Cut. It's very apparent that they don't only pay attention to box office success, they also pay attention to critical and audience reception as well. Depending on if, I think already the subscriptions are secured for Snyder Cut, but I think on audience and critical reception, if that is good, this is just the perfect opportune time for Zack Snyder once that comes out and if it's received well for him to negotiate so that way he can have the ultimate creative freedom moving forward. We all know Zack Snyder's at his best when he's able to have his creative freedom. His director cuts 99% of the time are better than the theatrical cuts. And if the Snyder Cut proves to be like, oh yeah, people really love this, that's just gonna give him the leeway to open up the negotiation doors for, okay, but if I do this, more money and full creative control. That is what I think he's doing right here. It's like those Spider-Man deals, you know? It's all public negotiations. He knows what he's doing. AT&T's the one running the Warner Brothers ship at the end of the day now.
Oh god, and I can only imagine he probably would rather be working with the HBO wing of that than the WB wing of that. Not that there's two separate, but I have to imagine that in the theatrical world where they still want to put movies out that way, it would probably be a lot harder for him to secure that amount of control. I feel like HBO Max too would make a great opportunity to separate the universes, because they clearly have certain things that are going in their movie world that could perhaps, and he's used the phrase Elseworlds to describe certain issues with Wonder Woman 1984 and Diana and certain issues of that, and so I feel like especially if they're gonna keep, you know, this Diana Prince in the movie sphere, it makes a lot of sense to have him continue in a more TV-oriented or episodic format where he can dig into his deep, gritty, dark, thematic material that he loves to cover so much.
And then he can bring his decapitating Wonder Woman into his Snyderverse.
Wearing a necklace of heads.
I'd love to see that version. I think that'd be really cool to see that brought to life.
All of it.
It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. I know there's been a back and forth on the internet. Hey, is this Wonder Woman? This seems to be totally out of character. Looks cool, but out of character. But as a lot of people have come to the forefront in talking about that Wonder Woman image, there's variations of the comic. I feel like usually it's Elseworlds versions of Wonder Woman where she's, you know, someone who's ruthless, decapitates people. But but there's other versions as well where she's not unlikely to decapitate a head here or there. Yeah, I'd love to see that version brought to life when clearly that was part of his original plan, and Gal Gadot seemed game to do it. She did the photo, so yeah.
Although, to be fair, I mean, on the most recent movie, and she's a producer on that, they partly opted to take like the sword and shield out because they thought that would be a bit too on the aggressive side. So I'd be curious about what her stance specifically is on these things, because I get a good sense for how Patty Jenkins feels.
So yeah, guys, to sum it up, DCEU, as we've all come to experience, it's all trial and error the way these guys work. Whatever works, they keep it going. What doesn't work, they scrap it. And that's actually a big part of why I really like the DCEU. Some people will say that's part of the flaw within its system. For me, I feel like the DCEU is, what's cool about it, especially now, is how wildly different their films are. The variations of them, I think, are really neat. Some of them are just okay to me, a couple I don't like, and then there's a good handful I really do love. At the end of the day, I like the creative integrity of really mixing it up. But anywho, is Ray Fisher fired? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, is he going to be recast for The Flash?
Here's what's happening here. Ray Fisher supposedly was never supposed to even be in Flashpoint. Mark Hughes, he tweeted out, the rumors of Cyborg recasting are a lie. Cyborg is not in The Flash and the role is not being recast. I've confirmed this with the studio. The rumor is false. Okay, all right, I can get on board with that. But guys, look, let's face facts here. When it comes to the DCEU films, Ray Fisher's gone. He's out. Undoubtedly, he's gone. Walter Hamada just renewed his contract, a multi-year contract. Very recently, Ray Fisher said, Walter Hamada is the most dangerous kind of enabler. His lies and WBPR's failed September 4th hit piece sought to undermine the very real issue of the Justice League investigation. I will not participate in any production associated with him. So when he's going out there saying that, insulting the head, the boss, the main guy to answer to when it comes to playing Cyborg, he's out. He's gone.
That seems to be the only way to do it. Yeah. I mean, because at this point, they're not going to sit around and smile while, you know, Zack Snyder brings him on for 10 more movies or something like that, if that were to happen.
And I'm not even talking from a place of, do I side with Ray Fisher or do I side with WB and how they've been handling the whole Ray Fisher case? I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the fact that, dude, you insulted the head guy who just got a multi-year contract deal. End of the day, he's more valuable right now for DC than you are. I think Ray Fisher's going to be gone, but here's the other side of the equation here. I believe it was Walter Hamada who did say in the New York Times article, it was like a WB studio executive at DC. I believe it might have been Walter Hamada, feel free to correct me. The Snyder Cut is a narrative cul-de-sac. It's a dead end that leads nowhere. So basically implying that there's no path forward with it, that should be the end-all be-all, just let it be this one-time event. That's his take on it. Him being the head of DC Films, it's like, all right, I guess that's it after the Snyder Cut. That might even lead more people to go, yeah, that makes more sense why Zack Snyder doesn't have any more plans going forward. Like, he's just gonna can those additional movie ideas that he had. With the momentum he's garnered from the Snyder Cut, it just doesn't make sense for him to not do it. Like I said earlier, AT&T's the one who's really calling the shots right now. It's very apparent. We just look at what happened with HBO Max and the crazy uproars that happened there. It's clearly AT&T's call. They're the ones in charge. And if Snyder Cut proves to be a success, maybe we won't see Cyborg appear in any of the DCEU films, but in the subsidiary category of the Snyderverse is where I think Cyborg's, Ray Fisher's legacy can still carry on. Because he might not have to talk to Mr. Walter Hamada. He could just work directly through Zack Snyder, who clearly loves Ray Fisher.
Yeah. Well, that's the big thing that makes me quite curious about how this constellation fits together, because it seems like it would cause problems for Zack Snyder to have, you know, this whole Ray Fisher situation not resolved in any way. And I mean, while I could see that being a bridge, like him working through Zack Snyder, it's still associated with Walter Hamada, and so I don't know how that would actually fit into Ray Fisher's philosophy thus far of accountability over entertainment, because, you know, I mean, he's the head. Yeah, you can't really escape him, because even if you're just at HBO, you're still WB, you're still AT&T. I would be very surprised if Ray Fisher gets to continue at all. Although, I mean, I could definitely see what you're saying with Zack Snyder. I mean, even if he doesn't have an exact plan for what follows the Snyder Cut, if that's something, like with all this debate about, you know, people, filmmakers up in arms about, I don't want my movie released on HBO Max and whatnot, you know, they could probably see an opportunity to increase a streaming-only piece of content through Zack Snyder, and maybe he comes up with something else or something more contained or whatever. whatever. Yeah, I don't see how Ray Fisher continues of his own accord, or anyone else's really, because it's just going to be more problems and more distraction, more controversy the more they have his face in there.
Perhaps, but I think when Snyder Cut comes out and they see that Cyborg really is the heart of that Snyder Cut movie, I think people are gonna want more of him.
True. Anything can happen.
I think it's subject to change. Guys, what do you think? Do you believe Zack Snyder? Do you think Cyborg, Ray Fisher, is officially out, or do you think he will have a future continuing in the Snyderverse films? Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe, click that notification bell, hit that like button. We'll catch you guys soon.